Hi, welcome to Sportsy, Let's Talk Sports. We have spoken to athletes, we have spoken to administrators, and we have spoken to a few entrepreneurs who started a journey in the sports tech industry. Today we have with us Heba Al Masri, Managing Director of Qatar Sportstech. Qatar Sportstech is a brainchild of Startupbootcamp with over a decade of experience in startups and investment and accelerators across the world, keeping FIFA World Cup in Qatar 2022. Startup Bootcamp and Qatar Development Bank came together with a new program called Qatar Sportstech. This program is to help most promising startups and the leading brands and organizations. Qatar Sportstech is initiated by Qatar Development Bank, powered by Startup Bootcamp, and supported by the Supreme Committee of Delivery and Legacy, Qatar Financial Center, Aspire Zone Foundation, so on and so forth. Heba has a journey from handling virtual incubators in the university to handling MLS players and the marketing of MLS teams and clubs. From there to managing director of Qatar Sportstech. Let's get to hear from Heba about her journey as well as what is Qatar Sportstech and how it's going to help the budding sports tech accelerators and entrepreneurs. Thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, and thank you for watching. But please do subscribe on our channel Sportsy Says and follow Sportsy Says across all the social media handles. Help us spread the word of Sportsy, Let's Talk Sports. Please subscribe to Sportsy Says.
Hi, Heba. Great to have you on Sportsy. Let's talk sports. As we spoke, this is a platform built for educational, aspirational, informative purpose for a lot of industry stakeholders. And it is great to have you on this. Managing Director of Qatar Sportstech, and she has a journey from student life of handling virtual incubators to working as an agent in MLS and back to the incubation. It's a great journey that she has. So I think we would really love to understand about that journey as a student life to coming back to the whole incubation again.
Sure. Thanks, Sid. Thank you for having me. Glad to be here. So like you mentioned, my first experience was into virtual incubation. So this was back in 2008, and the whole concept of startup scene, accelerators, incubators was very, very new. And so the best way to test it and to see if it worked for a specific city was to do it virtually. And what that really meant is that we go to them. It wasn't, we didn't house them anywhere. It was coaching and mentoring, etc., without the infrastructure, right? So it would just be virtual collaboration. And so I did that for a few years before I came to the MENA region, in Saudi Arabia in particular. And I did the same thing basically that I'm doing here in Qatar, which is it started with ecosystem development, because it was even very new, if you can imagine, back, 2010. So we started with the ecosystem development. What does it mean to be an entrepreneur? What is an entrepreneur? And how do you guys assist an entrepreneur? And what is it to be a mentor, etc.? So I did that for a few years before returning back to the United States. And this time I went straight into a sports agency.
Yes.
So I headed a sports agency for about 6 years, working with the MLS and other clubs. But primary thing was, to connect the dots wherever it is a play, whether it's move players or move coaches or find sponsorship deals, whatever it was, that was what we did. And then I decided that I really missed the startup scene and the accelerator in particular, and incubation aspect. And so I decided to take this on in Qatar, and that's for me bringing in my sports and my previous tech managing of accelerator programs together. And Qatar Sportstech was like the fit for it all. And here I am.
Nice. In the span of 12 years, you can call the life came to the full circle from virtual incubators to the incubators now.
Right. Right. Yeah, and the whole sports incubation is relatively doesn't exist in this region at all. So Qatar Sportstech is one of the only ones. So it's very popular, and we're having a really good time.
Great. So before I ask you some questions about the Qatar Sportstech and the sports tech industry, you forced me to ask one question, which is about the MLS and as a agenting. How is the, because US we consider to be the most mature market when it comes to sports commercialization.
Right.
So how was that experience about the agenting on the and particularly MLS, which is probably not even top 5 sports in the country?
No.
So how was that marketing experience there?
So the MLS sports, particularly, we were only a sports agency for soccer. Not football or anything else. It was just particularly soccer. And so it was, if we even look at it 6 years ago, it's even more immature than it is now. But we saw that it was rising. It was on the rise, particularly when we had Bob Bradley from the national head team of the US move to a MENA region country, which was Egypt. And he had a national team there. And so that's when the bridge, he was called the American Pharaoh at that time. And he bridged the West with the East, and particularly through soccer. Right. And so that's kind of like the turning point of when everything started to happen. And how we started about is because we were still in the MENA region, we started to recruit MENA players back into the MLS. And that's how our collaboration started with the MLS, taking particularly Egyptian players from here and taking them to the West. And so it was a big transformation. The MLS was up and coming. Soccer, unfortunately, soccer in the United States, in some places, it's not one of the most played sports because it's an expensive sport, because you do a lot of traveling, training is expensive, etc. And so now that it's up and coming, there's more affordable opportunities and options. And it's just about time. It's really about time, because this is what the world is playing. This is the sport the world is playing, and we're catching on.
That's the real football.
Yeah. I know about that. I haven't been out of the United States long enough yet, so can't agree.
No. So I lived in the Bay Area for quite some time, and while I saw so much of that was in again 2008 to 14-15 time frame when I could see a lot of soccer getting played at the grassroots level, but nothing at the top level.
Right.
That was a big transformation, or probably I was actually baffled by the situation. How so many people play soccer at this level, but nobody's playing at the college level.
Right. It was it ended somehow. It wasn't popular, right? Because it was even to the point of like your friends didn't really want to come out and watch you play soccer. No one really understood the game, or it wasn't very popular. So if you wanted to be the popular kid, you played football, or that's what's really being marketed in the United States.
Exactly. The way the cricket was marketed in India, that's how the whole football was marketed in the US. And I think MLS caught a good eye when Beckham actually came to LA Galaxy
as well.
That was a big transformation. I think that was a big step that happened after almost 12-13 years of their existence. So anyway, so I don't want to go take a lot of time on that side, but yes, it's a phenomenal journey, and I'm sure that has been helping you here. So I'm privileged to be associated with Qatar Sportstech. Probably I think I was the first mentor who came on board from India on Qatar Sportstech when it started. For the viewers or listeners, what exactly is Qatar Sportstech, and what's the philosophy of it?
So we are, we actually, our founding partner is Qatar Development Bank. And so what they are working towards is developing Qatar to be a global sports hub. And so how are we doing this? We're hosting the World Cup, we're hosting other events like tennis, shooting, etc., horses, all of these different types of events. But particularly, how can we develop in-house and how can we recruit? And this is where Qatar Sportstech comes in. So out of that, we have two different arms, more is probably the best way to describe this. So the first one is our Accelerator program, where we scout for the most promising sports tech startups from around the world. And we do this through an extensive scouting process over 3 months. We bring in the best 20 for 2 days in Doha. Out of the 20, our partners help us choose the best 10. And from those 10, then those are the ones who are invited for that cycle of cohort. And we do this every 9 months. On the other arm, what we do is we try to develop the local ecosystem. And we do this with trying to completely do development within entrepreneurs. So through hackathons, ideation sessions, etc. And with mentors. So we do mentor boot camps. What is it to be a mentor? Why should you mentor? So we bring in professionals and try to sell the idea of mentorship. And then we do it with the angels. So angel investment boot camps. And the same thing with that is we'll do workshops of what does it mean to be an angel investor and who should and shouldn't invest and what you should look for within a startup. So that way we have a whole holistic approach of a complete ecosystem within entrepreneurism here in Doha. And that's basically that we're working on in Qatar Sportstech.
Excellent. And as you mentioned, I think it is backed by Qatar National Bank.
Development Bank.
Yeah, sorry, Qatar Development Bank, which is backing it. Was it started with keeping in mind the 2022 World Cup in Qatar?
I'm sure I wasn't in those talks, but I'm sure that's more encouraging, right? This is
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
there's a whole movement of the country. It's like, what can we do? And it being the developmental bank of the country, their arm has to be in there, and we are one of them.
Right. So. As you spoke about the whole local ecosystem getting developed, and a lot of activities are happening considering the FIFA World Cup in 2022 in Qatar. So, and I'm sure we are all hoping that some of our companies get associated with that level of engagement. But for somebody to be part of the Qatar Sportstech, what is a typical what kind of sports tech that you actually look at? Is it B2B, B2C, variable, non-variable, or pan-engaged, any kind of thing? So what are the companies that you look at, and what is the typical selection criteria? You mentioned about the process, but the criteria that what I should be, what I should have when I come there.
Okay, so we have a thesis, and within this thesis is 4 different subjects that you must meet. So we have the athlete and the team. So some kind of wearable or anything that enhances the club, the team, or the athlete, or the sport itself. Then we have the theme of the fan. So anything fan engagement, fan enhancement, etc. Even media, broadcasting, all of this. Then we have the World Cup 2022. How do you make a memorable World Cup? How do you logistically, whatever aspect of it, how do you engage people while they're here? How do we keep them, how do we connect them with each other, etc.
Right.
And the last one is esports. So anything that falls under the esports subject would be that. So they're very broad. That really covers a lot of what Sportstech is. Um, and from that, we look for startups that are at a certain stage. So the first criteria is that they must have an MVP, they must show some traction, more than one team member, they have to be willing to come to Qatar for 3 months, and with the intention of staying in Qatar. So our idea is to develop this local ecosystem. So bringing you on board and bringing you to Qatar, we are looking for you to stay when you come, or at least have the intention to, do something here out of Qatar. So we look for, with that, we have to find a fit. We have to find, okay, what is Qatar in need of? What is our partners in need of? Do we have the market? Do you provide a product? So the whole market fit, of course, plays a role. And that's our selection. That's the minimum that we look into.
Wow. So I think that's good to know that, okay, you're not looking at only revenue kind of thing. You're looking at the MVP and taking it forward where there's a potential. So Heba, now we just finished the second cohort, and congratulations for that. It's the second batch. It's as good as the second batch is graduating. So how do you, in the last 18 months kind of journey that you feel, what are the different kind of trends that you are seeing in the sports industry, and how the sports technology industry, how have they changed or matured in your perspective?
I feel like it's been rather steady, other than the big jump of esports that's coming out right now, and this is previous to COVID. So I would say that COVID gave it just a faster bump, but it was up and coming. And this is something that, especially for this area and this region, it's relatively new. What I do find now after COVID that was a little bit of a surprise or unexpected is, the more workouts at home kind of gyms, although there has been some kind of performance, statistics and wearables, etc. Now it's more like, okay, individual ones, where in the past or the last time it was more, okay, team, how as a team do you stand, and how can you guys utilize this? Now it's a lot of it. It's like, what can we do, at home or without having to be around the team? And this is where I find a big difference now.
Yeah.
And I do see that being adopted actually with, I do find that there is a huge market for it that would last post-COVID entirely, for sure.
Even we get to feel the same, the whole fan engagement, because we don't know when the people are going to be back in the stadium. So the engaging fan sitting at home is something different, and the whole fitness industry has grown so much suddenly. The home fitness, I think, I spoke to one of the companies who is into personal fitness. So it was good to understand the whole model that they have in mind, and how do you work out and all those things. I think it's great. So when you get these companies and you actually handhold them through a process, how do accelerators actually help a startup? Because sometimes what people, the founders usually feel that, okay, why should I give out the equity and this and that? There's a lot of different questions that they have. So how do you handle those situations, and how does an accelerator help a startup journey?
So it only works when both of us see each other's value. So we must see the value in the startup, and they must see the value in the accelerator. And this is very apparent for us specifically. We fly in experts from all around the world. We look for the best of the best to run our workshops. We have a really nice mentor group with the whole SBC family. Other than the Qatar Sportstech mentor group, we have a great group of partners who are also very heavily involved, who do provide mentorship. And given also the space here, this is exactly where you want to be for sports at the moment. It's Qatar, it's up and coming. There's a lot of opportunity. There's so much support. It's really a no-brainer. The Qatar is where you want to, if you want to accelerate out of nowhere, this is a very comfortable place to be. And our accelerator is, it's very well done. It's well taken care of. QDB has put a lot of effort into making sure it works and it's successful. And I feel like we're doing a good job.
Indeed, I think every company who has come out of that, they are happy about the whole process. And whenever we get to speak to them, they have only positive things to share. I think that itself is a good validation of things are going right.
Good.
So the next question is mainly uh, about the sports tech as an industry. And again, these questions are probably similar question put it differently.
Yeah.
Is how are they impacting a journey of in a fan's life or an athlete's life? How the sports tech is impacting that? What trends that you see there?
So like everybody's moving towards like a digital life, right? This is something that's just given, and within the sports industry we've been behind a little bit. We've been behind where everybody went towards startup scene and entrepreneurialism, not in the sports industry. And if you actually look up into history, the first sport to even go and to look into this was actually baseball out of the United States. And so this is how they were engaging fans, because it is a long game and it's kind of, not very entertaining at times. And so if you look at that, you try to see, okay, it was just only a matter of time where, all other sports have to pick up and become in everyone's pockets, right? Like just pull out a phone or engage with the, masks of, virtual reality, etc. So any type of way, it's needed, it's a time, and I feel like the growth of it is going to accelerate very quickly.
Excellent. I think that is how the whole experience is also changing for fans, and even the athletes are performing at different level because the coach can give a lot of inputs to them. So as your whole career has been with the virtual incubators to a marketing to again, so it's a complete entrepreneurial journey from your side, and be it yourself or working with it. So it's been the complete journey. So what is your message to the budding entrepreneurs? What in sports tech specifically, what they should be looking at, and what should be the thing that they need to have to be presented to Qatar Sportstech or to be successful in the sports tech industry?
Like any entrepreneur or any kind of startup that you're looking and wanting to move forward, you have to have the dedication. You have to put in the time. It does take a lot of what you call skin in the game, right? It's not an easy process. It's not, it's constantly something, right? So first your product development or your team developing, and then you're trying to go to market, and then you're trying to invest or find investors, and then you start over of like, okay, finding more investors and further developing your product. So it's a cycle that's constant on the move. And you have to assess, is it the right time in my life? Because it is very demanding. So, and you have to analyze, okay, where am I in my life? Is this the right time, and how can I best move forward? So the resources of a good team, the resources of time, the ability to be flexible, all of this really takes into place. So something that may sometimes be overlooked is your lifestyle, and that's why I'm emphasizing on that a lot, is take a step back from the excitement of it and the potential, and say, is it realistic for me? Yes, it's a realistic product. This is a technology that's needed. There's a market, etc. But am I ready to do this right now, today?
Correct.
And you hear a lot of, and you read a lot of the articles of why entrepreneurs fail, and it's too early, and not the right team, and But really, I feel like a big one that's missing is, am I ready to do this? Or is this the right time for me? Again, emphasizing on that. And that's a big point, because if it is, then you are willing to, and you have the time and space to continue and make sure that it succeeds.
I think it was a pretty crisp and direct answer about how you should have the guidance for that. And it's a vicious cycle, whether you go for the product revenue or the investors, and it's the whole thing. I think what you said fits the bill perfectly. That, am I right enough? Is it something for me? Is my product there? So I think it's asking those why question to yourself before even doing something is the most important thing. Looks like.
Yes, because it's really nice. It looks fun and it looks exciting, and it is fun and it's exciting, but there's a lot of pain in the background too, and you have to be able to sustain it, right? And through your own personality, but also your lifestyle.
Correct. So, Heba, I think it was wonderful having you on this chat show, the talk show, and I think the lot can be understood by the viewers of our show, because the platform is Sportsy, where we only talk about sports and the whole allied industry of sports. And Qatar Sportstech is something has made a name for itself, and it's talking to you, hearing directly from you. I think it gives a lot of clarity for people to understand how they should be ready for something, or Qatar Sportstech, how to should apply, and the whole ecosystem. I think it's wonderful. Really appreciate your time, and hope to see you in person soon.
Thank you. Yeah, likewise. And I really hope that I've encouraged people to apply to our program, check it out, get on a call with us. We have on our website an option of where you can book a Calendly invite with us directly and ask whatever questions that you need to, so we can further move and see if this is the right fit for both of us. So I hope I allow everybody to do that.
Excellent. I think that is also a good platform where people should know where they should apply. And you also already mentioned the whole the process of how it go through. I think they will be more ready and eager to come after this. So thank you. Really appreciate that. Take care and stay safe.
Thank you. You too. Thanks for having me. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, and thank you for watching. But please do subscribe on our channel Sportsy Says and follow Sportsy Says across all the social media handles. Help us spread the word of Sportsy, Let's Talk Sports. Please subscribe to Sportsy Says.